As content creators, it's important to take a step back, look at what you've made, and figure out what's working and figure out what needs to be improved. Over the last year, I've been filming nonstop. I flew from Alaska to New York to Rwanda, and I've driven all around the Western US to make videos. And throughout this year, I've had some videos do super well, and I've also had some videos really perform poorly. And so in this video, I'm going to explore the 9 lessons that I've learned from the mistakes that I've made, and what I'm going to be focusing on moving forward as a creator. This video is becoming a yearly tradition. A couple years ago, I was in the hills over there filming this, and last year I was in the hills over there filming this. Ultimately, what I want to do is go through a few different lessons that I've learned this year making content on the platform, because I feel like every year it's a little bit different. And there's some things that I've learned this year that are different than the previous years I've been on the platform. I started off the year just wanting to have balance, having a work-life balance. And even with that intention at the beginning of the year, I feel like there was times where it was definitely chaotic, and definitely I got overwhelmed with making content and being a full-time content creator. And so looking back this year at all the videos that I've made and all the experiences that I've gone on, there's a few things that really stand out that I'm going to take with me moving into the next year. And these are things that I think I'm going to help you on your journey as a creator. Now, lesson number 1 is that being overwhelmed is a choice. One of the things that I notice that people do whenever they ask, "Oh, how are you doing?" They usually say something like, "Oh, I've been super busy." It's just a common thing. We will be busy if we don't intentionally take time off and make ourselves not busy. And so by always talking about being busy, always acting like your schedule's filled to the brim, it gives you that sense that you're just always overwhelmed. And so that's why I say being overwhelmed is a choice, because all of the choices that we make stack up to a super busy schedule where it feels like you're not getting stuff done and you're not hitting those milestones that you set out for yourself. So when somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'm trying not to say, "Oh, I'm busy," because I'm always going to be busy. There's always something you could be doing as a content creator. I feel like if I'm not making a video, if I'm not editing, if I'm not working on my creator film school, if I'm not working on my LUTs, if I'm not working with client jobs, whatever it is, there's always going to be something else to fill my time, especially because I have 2 kids and life is just always going to be busy. The minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep, I feel like there's always something I could be doing. And I know a lot of you feel that way as well. It just feels like you're not able to get to all of the things that you need to do. And I've noticed that my to-do list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And unfortunately, if you always look at that to-do list and you always see that big long list, well, it's going to give you that sense of being overwhelmed. And you're actually going to get less done the more that this feeling creeps up. And so there's a couple things that I think could help overcoming this sense of being overwhelmed. One is coming up with a schedule and adhering to it. So for me, I try to work normal hours, 9 to 5, weekends off. Now, obviously, that doesn't always work. And also part of being a creator is having a flexible schedule. So there are times where I work more, and then there's some weeks where I only work a couple days. But also the second part of that is just being realistic with your time, knowing how long it takes to actually do some of the tasks on your to-do list. And this is going to come from paying attention to how long it takes you to shoot, how long it takes you to edit, how long it takes you to do all these other things, and actually schedule your time appropriately so that you can get the things done that you're planning to get done. And then the third thing to help with the sense of being overwhelmed is to not always have things on your to-do list to do every minute of every day, but schedule things out and have chunks of time where you're going to take a break, because I think that's important to be able to make this something that you're going to continually do day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, etc. Lesson number 2 is that free is not actually free. So with a channel like mine, there's a lot of companies that want to send free products for me to review or for me to test. And one of the things that I've done this year is create strong boundaries between what that actually means when a company sends me a product. Because every time a creator says yes to, say, a free product or a sponsorship or an integration, that takes time away from actually making the content. And as a creator, you don't want to fall into the trap of just being a marketing tool for all these other companies and all these other brands. And one of the things I've noticed is that companies have just become much more aggressive in the way that they approach creators, and they've become much more demanding. And so for me personally, moving forward, I'm going to be very selective with the companies that I work with. And this lesson really comes down to this idea of saying no versus saying yes. When I was first getting into the film world, I said yes to everything. And that's how I was able to build my freelance career, build my production company, and ultimately build this channel. However, there becomes a time where saying yes ends up taking away from the things that you actually want to do. And so now it's time to shift away from saying yes to too many things and actually saying no to almost everything, and really focus on those things that I want to do for this channel moving forward, and things that will also help grow my business, rather than saying yes to everything. Lesson number 3 is that it's important to have a North Star, and knowing why you're making videos and which direction that you're going and why you're putting all this effort into this thing. There's been a trend of creators talking about the number of pieces of content that they upload. 30 pieces of content in a week, with shorts and podcasts and live streams and long form videos and posts and this and that. And I've seen other creators talk about things like, oh, I need to put 100 long form videos out this year. And the problem with that is that there's too much focus in on this number, just trying to get a specific amount of content pieces rather than focusing on making sure that all of the content that you're producing has a goal in mind, has a direction, has that North Star. Have you really thought about what your future is as a content creator? Are you going to be making these videos until you're 80? Can you retire as a creator? And what it means to retire from posting consistently on this platform. And so a big part of this year, I've been thinking through finances, business strategies, and ultimately, like, what is my goal with my entire creator business and where I want to be in 5, 10, 15 years from now? Because with this career, there is no clear path. There's no specific route that you should go down for the rest of your life. And if you're trying to become a full-time creator, you need to start building that route for yourself. One of the things that Mr. Beast does is he says that he puts all of his money back into his videos because he wants to be the biggest creator on the platform. But I think that sets up a lot of creators for failure, because if you take that mindset and apply it to your own channel and you start putting everything that you make back into your videos, and you start hiring a ton of staff, and you start hiring editors and shooters, marketing people, and you just keep constantly putting more money back into the business, well, that might be good to grow at first, might be good to get yourself to a certain point, but you got to know when to stop. And you got to know where that ceiling is, where you stop putting everything into this business and start saving and investing for the future. So that 10 years from now, you don't burn out, stop making content, and you have nothing to show for all of this work that you've put into this career. Now, the next lesson really comes down to understanding what you want to do as a creator in terms of the type of content that you're producing. There's so many platforms and there's so many styles of content coming out. This year, I really dove headfirst into shorts. And I feel like shorts are a great way to be able to grow a new channel. And there are creators who really thrive in short form content. However, there's also a lot of drawbacks to doing shorts, especially for creators that are more established. And I've seen shorts actually hurt YouTube channels more than they actually help. And so this really ties into the previous lesson, which is knowing your North Star. Because when you know which direction you're pointing and what your goals are, then you could test these features when they come out. When shorts came out, you could test it and see if it works for your content. And if it doesn't help push you towards that goal, well, then you should stop doing it. As creators, there are so many different options to post videos. However, you don't have to be everywhere at all times. I think it really comes down to understanding what you want to do as a creator and really putting your efforts towards that. And then you could try things when they pop up, but ultimately, if they're not working, well, you don't have to do them. And that's why on this channel, I'm not going to be doing shorts anymore. I tested it for a while. They don't help push me towards the goals that I have as a creator. So ultimately, I just deleted them all off the channel. So you need to figure out where you want to aim all of your effort. And then when something new comes up, test it, see if it works, or see if it's a distraction that's pulling you away from the things that are actually going to move the needle and push you towards your goals. Now, the next lesson that I've learned is to not put videos off. There is a whole bunch of videos that I've wanted to make this year, and I haven't made them yet. And part of that is saying yes to too many things and putting that in front of the videos that I actually want to make. There were some pretty cool trips that I went on this year. I went up to a remote island in Alaska to shoot a documentary. I also went out to Rwanda in Africa to make a project. And out of those trips, there's a lot of different videos that I've wanted to make, but they keep getting put on the back burner because other things keep coming up. And if I was to do all of the videos that I've said yes to, plus all of these other videos that I want to make, then I'm going to be working all day, every day, 7 days a week to be able to get everything done. And that's definitely just not realistic and not how I want to make content. And so the lesson moving forward for me is going to be, say no. I've already went over that, but ultimately don't put off the videos that I want to make. There's a lot of content. And I think one thing that's really going to help moving forward is just having a clear organizational strategy and really adhere to it. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing in the next month, is really focusing on my organization, how I keep notes, how I keep video ideas, and all of that. And also how I create my list of what videos I'm going to make next, so that I don't keep putting videos in the back burner on a hard drive somewhere and then I never get to it. And then a year goes by and now the video is not relevant, or there's just lots of other things that I should be doing. And so for you, stop putting things on the back burner and really just start going after it and get those things done that you want to get done. Make it happen right now. So there definitely seems to be a theme with all of these lessons and everything that I'm moving forward, because the next lesson is take on less, do less per week, do less per month, do less per year, just so that I could focus in on the things that I actually want to work on, than getting distracted by tons of busy work and making a bunch of videos for things that I don't necessarily want to make videos for. So this lesson to take on less is really to help push towards the actual goals that I have and the actual types of content that I want to produce, and also just not to be overwhelmed with all of these different things that I have to do. When I can take on less, I can schedule things out, I can be more focused in what I'm doing, and ultimately be able to take breaks when I need to take breaks, and be able to take time off when I need to take time off, so that I don't end up becoming burned out from making these videos. I've seen multiple creators stop their YouTube channel this year in this niche, like big creators. And one of the big things that I've seen them say when they're talking on podcasts or their final announcement video is that they just got overwhelmed with the amount of things that they had to do. And ultimately it becomes a burden to be able to keep this rat race going and be able to keep making video after video after video, week after week after week. And so I think a big part of avoiding burnout and avoiding getting to that point where you just want to quit is to take on less and be a little bit more vigilant with your time and being able to say no to things. Now, the next lesson is aim for the best, but plan for the worst. And what I mean by this is you want to think long-term. You want to think how you're going to build this business, this career as a creator. And you want to be thinking 5-10 years into the future. But also you want to be thinking about what happens if your channel gets terminated, or if you get hit with invalid traffic, or the platform changes and you're just not getting the reach that you used to. Things are constantly changing in this world of social media. And you might be making videos now that are getting a ton of reach, but that doesn't mean that in the future, things are going to change. At the beginning of last year, my ad revenue cut in half. And that didn't really go back to where it was even by the end of this year. And moving forward, there's no guarantee that the ad revenue is going to stay where it's at now. It could drop even further. And also things like sponsors come and go. Affiliates may be super high one month, but then all of a sudden there's no money coming in the next month. And so what I mean by aim for the best and plan for the worst is that you want to be taking steps now so that when something does happen and you're not able to make as much money off your channel, or your growth stops altogether, that you're not completely out of luck. And this is why I was talking about earlier. You want to think through your financials. You want to think through actually saving some of the money that you're making and actually coming up with a plan, because things will constantly be evolving. And especially with this career, there is no guarantee. There's no guarantee that we'll be doing this 5-10 years into the future. And so you want to have your plan A, your goals, what you want to aim towards. But you also want to be thinking of your plan B. What happens if all of this falls apart and this platform is no longer available and you can't make content anymore? What are you going to do in that situation? Do you have a safety net if that was to happen? These are things that you should start planning for, and things I'm definitely planning for, because we won't know what's going to happen with these platforms 10, 15 years into the future. Now, my 8th lesson I think is something a lot of creators need to hear, and that is you want to treat this like a career, and you want to try to take your personal life out of it. And I say this for a few reasons. One, you don't want to wrap your personal life so much into your career that you end up just losing yourself and you lose this ability to have a life that's outside of this world of making videos. And the second thing is that there's a lot of bad actors out there. There's a lot of scams out there, and you don't want to put your whole personal life on social media. I think you should have a clear separation between your career, your YouTube channel, your business as a creator, and your personal life. And this is why I've really pulled back from posting stories constantly. It's a great form of content, but at the same time, I don't need people to know where I'm at all times, what I'm doing at all times. I'd rather focus in on the videos that make up the brand that I've built on my YouTube channel and post just content around that. And if I come up with stories, they're not going to be from that exact moment. I think as creators, we need to create clear division between work and personal life. And we need to take everything about our personal life offline. There's no reason to be posting every single thing that you're doing at all times. And the last lesson that I've learned this year is to simplify everything. One of the things that I think happens is that we overcomplicate all the steps it takes to actually do something. And when it comes to making videos, I think there's a lot of excess that happens throughout the process, and also just a lot of things that take away your time from actually doing the things that are most important. And also, one of the things I want to do is simplify my process of making videos. Some of my best performing videos on this channel are very much a talking head style video. And so I know for me, I know for a lot of creators, we overthink our videos to the point of where we think we need to have these crazy in-depth videos that take forever to make. But the reality is sometimes just a talking head video works just fine. And I think simplifying what I'm doing, and I think by taking into account all of these lessons from this video, it's going to make the whole process of making videos just so much easier. And there's a lot more room for creativity and a lot more options for making videos by following these principles that I've been talking about. So every year, instead of a New Year's resolution, I like to do one word. Kind of sets you up for the year, gives you some things to think about, and also this one word becomes your North Star for how you approach everything. And so last year, my word was balance, was trying to create balance. And I kind of made that happen. There was definitely times where I was unbalanced, but having that word definitely started pushing me in the right direction to try and declutter this career and declutter everything that I do around being a creator. And so this year, my word is going to be simplify. I'm going to use lesson 9 and take that moving forward and just try to simplify everything. I personally love the process of making videos, but there is a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that sucks out so much time. And I'm also thinking for the future. So I'm not trying to hire a massive team to make this happen. I would rather simplify the process, take on less, focus on the things that I actually want to do, and use that as my guiding principles to make content moving forward. And as a solo creator, I don't have a massive overhead. I don't have all of these bills that I have to pay. And when I simplify all the pieces of software I use, all the gear that I use, well, then it makes everything much more obtainable. I can actually make the videos I want to make, and I can plan for the future while I'm making those videos. So let me know down below in the comments, what is your word going to be for this year? And if you want to see 18 other lessons that I've learned over the past 2 years, well, you want to check out these videos right here. These are all the lessons I've learned over the last few years of making content on this platform. And these things will help you on your journey as a creator. I'll see you on the next one.